Hello. As you will see when searching for this stream, it is quite different than any other stream that I've tried before. And the thing is, I'm going to show you something that I don't really do on a stream or any particular aspect, but I'll show you what I've been thinking about for this at least stream. And the thing is, nothing here is planned. No matter what I do, everything is on the spot, word for word, of what I do and say, and no one's putting any words in my mouth. Well, not yet, but I really don't care on that part. But, so, as you can see here with the light on and all that, this is basically my collection of DS's, 3DS's, Game Boy Advance systems, even this very nice thing that, well, it's a wireless connection through the GBA, well, yeah, for the Game Boy Advance. And it works on the Game Boy SP too, so that's also a nice feature that it's like, it adds wireless functionality. And the thing is, back then, you actually got goodies when you bought any sort of games like this. So, and that's actually what came with the Game Boy Advance games. It is very, very nice, and there's not really many extras that come with stuff as much anymore. But besides the point, because it happens every so often, but not so much here in the U.S., more so in Japan and the places where the game companies usually reside. But yeah, it doesn't really happen here as much. But let's get to the point. Let's go to the document camera. So these are, ignore these. These are during my other Pokemon, sorry. Full. Let me flip this around. Sorry about that. Cancel. Alright, let's just flip this image around. I know it's streaming, but hey. But, no, now you can hear me. So, these are all my systems that I've collected throughout the years. And the thing is, this port right here, it stopped working correctly on my red 3DS. I can still play on it, but I actually have to hack it in order to in order to use it, or I have to change a resistor, which I don't really want to do at this point. I'd rather have someone fix that for me. It costs a little bit, but hey, I really don't feel like testing things out, and there are other things that I'm still trying to fix, including one of my Xbox 360 systems Good thing I caught it before the capacitors leaked on the board, but it needs to be recapped, and I can't get it out of the holes. So the solder is just stuck in the holes, and I've been trying multiple different ways of just to get it out. So hopefully I can use flux and get it out somehow. If not, I'm going to have to take the whole board to a repair shop of some sort. Hopefully someone can actually clean it up for me. And the thing is, I just want them to open up the holes. I don't want them to recap the board or do anything like that. I want to do that myself, because I'd rather do that myself anyway. So, and I've already checked the clearances on the airflow and all that stuff. So as soon as I recap the board, it will work. I just need the holes clear and through just so that I can do that. But yeah, no. So these are all the systems that I've used throughout the years. These three are my childhood systems. These are the adapters that I've used, and so on and so forth. And these are all original ones. And the reason why it doesn't have any serial code, well, it sweated off. And I mean, it literally sweated off, because it gets so hot here in Texas that when you play something, you're out in 100-degree weather, whether you like it or not, watching a soccer game, and your sisters are playing. So, or you have siblings of some sort. But, no, what I would do is I would take one game, place it in one, another, and another, put this on here, and set these aside. And so, when I got to the point, I would actually take these, and let me hopefully turn off the light, maybe, to help it. Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, no, no matter what you do, it's hard to see these. But yeah, if you link these just right, you can actually trade with both of these. Sorry, it's out of screen. Oh, and those are the Tamagotchi styling of what Pokemon did. So yeah. But yeah, when you have those connected, and I'm not going to deal with playing the game on these right now, even though it would be entertaining. The thing is, you can still take out the game with these on, so it's not going to bother any or not anyone, really. But yeah, this is a little bit easier to see because of the backlight, but yeah. But yeah, these are my childhood systems that I've used for quite a long time. And if you have one of the adapters connected and all that, you can do link trades through these wireless adapters. And they usually came bundled with leaf green and fire red. So they came bundled with them. I wish I kept the packaging. Unfortunately, I don't have anything except for the manuals for a lot of my GBA games. I usually throw away most of the packaging. I really wish I kept it because then it would be a collector's item, but what can you do? You're a child then, so what can you really do? So these are basically the childhood systems. They're not modded in any way. I've kept them alive since, well, I've kept them alive. So this is not the AGS 101 screen, but hey, it still looks good to me for an aging screen. So what can you do on that? And then all of that, I'm going to get back to most of this in a second, but I want to at least talk about exactly what these GBA and all that stuff, because the e-reader and all that, and I do have the e-reader too, so I am able to connect the e-reader, and the e-reader only works on Game Boy Advance Game Boy Advance systems, because that is what they designed them for. And I can show you that real quick, so I'll be right back in a moment. Alright, so I'm back. And here's the fabled e-reader that people don't really seem to understand where it goes or what it does. But the thing is with the e-reader is it did multiple different things throughout its lifetime. Even though it was short, so it actually came with these cards, and I keep these in as good of a condition as you can keep them. But yeah, no, they're air hockey, a Watchmen game, pinball, golf, Clue Land. But yeah, no, the e-reader was an interesting marvel in its own right. But the thing is, it did not progress any further than that. So the furthest it really got was Pokemon. And let me show you those cards real quick. I'll be back in a second. I'm sorry for all these breaks, but the thing is, I kind of didn't plan for this. The thing is about the e-reader, though, that people don't quite understand is it was really innovative for Pokemon, specifically Pokemon. And there are these battle e-cards that when you get them, you can actually, if you've progressed far enough within the game, you can actually get these trainer battles, and I still didn't understand how these trainer cards worked, and some of them are item cards too. And I was, if someone has some sort of information on these battle e cards, that would help, because I would like to understand. So I connect the e-reader like this, turn on the Game Boy, well, the Game Boy Advance, okay. And so what you would do with any of this stuff is, so you would take the card and you take the stock code right here and then swipe it across like this. So link e-reader to Pokemon Ruby or Sapphire and select mystery events on the game's menu. And something to do with mystery events, and you'll be able to battle this trainer. But yeah, no, that's the simple way of using the e-reader itself. But yeah, you would just scan the card, and I guess through mystery events you could actually, and the Eon ticket worked the same way, and that's what those cards would mostly be for that. But I always keep most of them in this container, just so that this card container, just so that they stay sharp and they don't degrade as much. So I'll just stay inside this case. But that's the e-reader. But the nice thing about the e-reader is there are certain games that you could play with the e-reader. And people didn't quite understand that, because when they would scan a card, so I have two different cards from quite a while back that I keep in my Pokemon card collection. And the thing is about them that's quite different, that most people don't quite realize, is that there are mini games on these cards. So Rapidash and Ho-Oh give you a horse game. If I can find Ho-Oh. Oh. So let's see. Because I wanted to show you at least a little bit of that, because, and for the e-reader you would have to use this special cable, otherwise it would not work. It was very well, it was a priority type system. And the thing is, if you did use it on a well, for one thing is, you couldn't really use it on a Game Boy SP, because the link port doesn't allow you to plug it in. So you're stuck with the Game Boy Advance. If you have it modded, it does help. But let me show you, because there's one minigame that I found just by chance Oh, where are you? There you are. So I'm going to set that down. So with these two cards, Rapidash and Ho-Oh, you get a minigame unlike any other. Because it is a minigame that isn't really released anywhere else that I can find it. So, let me turn off the light. Actually, let me turn off the main light above me. So, it's going to get a little bit dark. And there's the e-reader screen. So, I'm going to scan the card. I'm going to take this Rapidash. That's one of them. And you press A and do the other card. And there you have it. Alright, and then and then it starts this little mini game of Rapidash and Ho-Oh. What? It's hard to play when you can't really see the game, but you kind of get the gist. So, and it does the timing of how you press the A button. It's a neat little mini game though. And of course, I could spend hours just doing this in general. But, yeah. But it's a little mini game that was created on the e-reader. And if you don't have these cards, you can't play the game. Turn on the light again. But yeah, if you don't have those cards, you can't play the game. But another feature that is also neat about the e-reader that most people don't quite understand is the ability to actually see how there's two dot codes. If you scan the bottom one, it actually shows you the stats of that card. So whatever card it was, it shows you the evolution and the stats about the Pokemon itself. So that is one of the features that I really love about the because it basically turns your actual Game Boy Advance into a Pokédex. And the thing is, all you need is a dot code to do something like that. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people searching for these. It's like, I'm going to create my own Pokédex. It's like, I have all these cards now. But no, it's a lot more interactive, which I really like, because I know that it doesn't help the cards, but the dot code is one of the hardest things to replicate because of how small those dots are. It's just one of those things that it's hard to replicate in its own right. And these are promo cards, so yeah. So a lot of the different e-reader cards had a multitude of just games on them that, unless you collect them, you don't even know about, because a lot of these games haven't even gone to any consoles or anything else. They've been stuck on this e-reader. There have been many games that have been lost because because no one moved anything from the e-reader, and so, yeah, it's one of those sad things where it's like, nothing you could really do about it. And Ponyta had the same thing, but you would have to look for different characters and all that stuff. Yeah. I'm gonna scan Ponyta, and you'd get a read error every so often, though. But you would also get a melody block, too. Yeah, but I'm not going to play it outright, but yeah, there are just so many nice little features that you would get with any of the e-reader cards. Of course, this is more of a history into Pokemon and their games. But no, they did a lot of creative things back then. And let me go to the main camera, though. So they did a lot of different creative things for this little guy. And it's like they even did creative things for the 3DS and all that stuff. Well, the DS at least. The 3DS was more of a gimmick, but the thing is they used that gimmick in some of the games. And some of the games use that gimmick very, very well. So, yeah, it's like these Tamagotchi things, which came bundled with the Heart Gold and Soul Silver games. So these came with the games themselves. So I have to replace one of the batteries on one of them, and one of them I sort of erased what was on it. So there's that. But yeah, no, there's so many different things that people don't quite understand that many Pokemon has gone through, and it's like, where's the innovation? Where's all that stuff? But what I would use all these systems for is link trading with myself, because I didn't want to go out and find a friend and say that I didn't have a Pokemon. I also took people's back then. Even in high school, I was still playing Pokemon, and I would take their cartridge, connect it with a USB connector, and it would be connected to the it would be connected to the entirety of the device. Oops, a little too zoomed in there. But no, I would basically take a system, a DS system. I usually used my DS Lite because it worked pretty well with any type of wireless connection. And the thing is, it was quite interesting because I used multiple DSs, 3DSs, and connected to a Wi-Fi connector to get event Pokemon that it's like they wouldn't have otherwise if they could, because wireless was actually very, very new back then. So a lot of these Pokemon that you would see, and the thing is, I would have all my DSs, 3DSs just laid out, and I would. I also back then had my original, but I gave it away. It happens. Still wish I had it, but it's better for demonstration purposes now. I didn't really care for the backlight. I still prefer the DS Lite. If I'm looking for something new, the DS Lite would be the best. And yeah. No, but I would have all my DSs, I would have my games, put the cartridge in here, and in, well, we'll choose black or white, it doesn't matter. And then I would turn on my systems one after the other. And a lot of the software is different and has changed over the years, as you can see. This takes a while because it is the original one that I've had for quite a while. So there we go. Now you can see. And what I would do between the DS's, 3DS's, all that, is I would open each game respectively, and I would actually play them while having them all spread out. So, and also in the process actually. Yeah, that's fine. It'll drain my battery faster though. And then I would have everything laid out like this. I would have my Pokedex out and looking through everything, making sure I caught everything. And I didn't mark anything in here, because I don't like marking my stuff on that. And then I would play the game. But yeah, no, the evolution of stuff is quite interesting, because it all started with a smaller system than before, because every iteration is going to be different. And the way you keep track or have all your stuff work properly in the future is just take care of it. But I have around 600 hours per game, which is crazy enough to think about, because it is quite a lot of time to play on any sort of game whatsoever. Even some of the new games I have at least 300 hours on them. But yeah, no, it is quite interesting in its own right. But I do want to at least draw or finish drawing something this stream. So let's get back to that. I didn't finish my character from last time. But I at least wanted to show you a little bit of that, because it's like, I love Pokemon. I won't draw Pokemon, but I love Pokemon nonetheless. And it's like, the stories, they have evolved, but the thing is, the outlining part that really, really stuck with me is Pokemon did not change in the way that they do the games, because everything's still text-based. Mega Man started on the GBA doing things where they actually spoke, and it's like, when I saw that game when I was a little kid, it's like, main cam. When I saw that game when I was a little kid, it's like, I was so excited that they did something different. And it's like, why can't people do more games that have speech? I know it's hard, but the thing is, just do a synthesizer of some sort. You don't have to put every voice in there, but there are some voices that it'd be nice to have. And it's like, with these newer games, it's like, they have no reason not to do something like that. It's like, all the way back to Platinum, Diamond. Oh, that's Diamond. Here's Platinum. But all the way back to those games, it's like, they still didn't do speech. I know it's harder to do it on the older systems like that, but the thing is, as newer systems start to come out and technology does advance quite literally, not really in a straight line, but you get the point. But yeah, no, the thing is, it's like, why? uh, it's just one of those things where it's like they really need to work on stuff like that, and it's like it's not going to be fixed overnight. I know that, and I understand that, but the thing is, you kind of have to understand. It's like they need to go to some point. Enough of my ranting. Let's get back to drawing, and I'll talk about it while I'm drawing. But yeah, no. Pokemon is one of those things where it's like they could do so many different things, and it's like, why have you not even done any of this? We've waited over, some of us, 10 years of waiting, but you didn't deliver anything to us. And we've just been waiting ever since, just so that you could get your act together and put together a rich enough story for Pokemon. It doesn't have to be so rich that people are going to say, ugh, this game is exhausting. No. All they have to do is put voice acting into Pokemon. And it's like, why? Why don't they? But yeah, no, Pokemon's been part of my life since my childhood. I created a sort of GameStop-like thing when I had yellow, blue, red, and yellow. Well, red, blue, and yellow. Those are the ones that I had. And apparently they disappeared one day when I put a lot of my games into a bag. And the thing is, some of those games would go for $10 or so. Some would. They weren't really notable games, but they were my games nonetheless. I still don't know what happened to them. Whether one of my sisters sold them or not. It's one day I saw a bag of games and they just disappeared. It's like no one else could have taken them other than the people in the house, so it's highly unlikely. Yes, stuff like that has happened to me over the years too. I've had things just ultimately disappear on me, and it's like, where is it going? Is it going to an alternate dimension, a different time? Where? It's like, is the world gonna end before it actually comes back? Where did it go? But yeah, no, it's one of those things. It's like, it has baffled me for years, and it's like, when I got angry one day, it's like I threw something in the closet, hoping to hear something, but no, there was nothing that came across it. It was just a thump of nothingness. Because I looked through that closet, and it was a games closet. You would have heard something, but the thing is, you heard nothing, and it's like, what the heck happened here? Oh, right, that's not an eyebrow. That's something else. But yeah, no, you would have heard something, and it's like, when I heard nothing, it's like, what'd I do? How'd I do it? How can I recreate it? So, yeah, no, and yeah, those were the thoughts that was going through my mind at the time. It's like, why? Why don't they? How can I recreate it? So yeah, no, and yeah, those were the thoughts that, that was going through my mind at the time. It's like, what the heck happened here? oh, what is this weirdness? And then other times it's like I have stuff disappear for months, and then I look back in the same spot, and it's like, I know I put it there, but why couldn't I find it until now? So, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, who's playing tricks on me and who's moving my stuff around the house? But yeah, that one DVD thing I couldn't find, and it's like, my dad even emptied the closet after he left, and it's like, he found nothing. It's weird. It's one of the weirdest things that has ever happened to me, but yeah, no, a lot weirder stuff has happened since then, more so on the line that kind of understand something that no one else will understand for years, and probably best, because it's not really dangerous, it's more of impractical to society's suspense, so I'll hold it off on that. And the thing is, I can tell you, because it is the language of Difrain, and Difrain is one of those things that disappeared from reality itself. The mention, the information about it, all of it is gone. And talked to someone recently, and they called it, I'm an original spark. And that's the words that I heard from what they said. But yeah, no, the thing is, I'm more than just an original spark, if we're actually going there. But I'd rather not deal with all the political or implications of what I am, because I'm still trying to figure that out on certain aspects and ways, and it's not getting it any easier. Alright, she's almost there. She looks nice. Very, very nice. Alright. In colors, you do need to do them in a way that works. There are ways to make everything look nice and all that stuff. Integrate different line color profiles. Get everything situated to the way you want it to look like. But yeah, no, people thought this stream was going to be something different. I understand. It's like, you came to my stream to see mostly drawing, but you see a bunch of consoles and stuff like that. It's like, what is this? What am I watching here? Hey, it's still educational. Everything in this world is educational. It is the way the world works. Because the world tends to teach people in the most abstract of ways. Because we look at the world in shapes. If I'm really being serious, the world is divided in a multitude of different shapes. And what I mean by that is every aspect of anybody's reality is just a shape away. No, that's why when we grow up, we learn of the different shapes of what Pokemon, well, not Pokemon, Pokemon on the brain, but, no, we look at the different shapes from an early age to understand the world at all, really. It is the first step of us understanding exactly what to do and how to do it. Because in order for us to drive, we do need to know the difference of what a square is, a circle, a rectangle. Because if we do not know those basic shapes, we don't know much about it. So it tends, the way things go, it just helps us recognize things a lot faster. It is one way that anyone's brain can recognize something. Yeah, I don't know what she has on. I never did understand what I was drawing in the first place, so sometimes figures just end up weird in the last. But yeah. But no, the shapes and all that stuff, they've always been hard to even understand in every aspect of the word. Because there are just as many shapes as there are stars in the sky. Well, that's a little bit overboard. But there are quite a bit of shapes, because when you get into 3D, you get into prisms, spherical shapes that aren't spheres, they're dodecahedrons, then there's octahedrons, and so much more. It really does sound like you're making up words, but there are just so many different things. It's like, yeah. I'm gonna go off of that. But yeah, the shapes can get complicated because there are freeform shapes, and I don't even know what to call them, other than their freeform shapes. You basically take the category and say, yeah, that's a freeform shape. So what is the shape? I don't know. It's a line. It's a two-dimensional line, we'll say. But no, it just gets complicated when you start looking at the specifics of how do you describe it. Is it a C? Oh yeah, and that's also why we learn the alphabet too. It's also to understand people, but that's another part of the point. Sorry about that. I'm a little tired. But yeah, no, the shapes really do help differentiate multiple different things. And that is the basis of art, of understanding your shapes before you can do anything else. Because if you do not understand your shapes, then it's just harder to move forward in life in general. So let's move here. Put it underneath. And there's many different types of shading as well. I like toon shading and stuff that uses simple colors but uses them in such a way that makes things pop out. And all you need are 3 to 4 different colors for any different type of shape or object to get a very realistic look in any of your artwork. Of course, I use more than that sometimes, but so do other artists. I'm not the only one. But yeah. No, she's coming across. I want to at least do a little bit of this. But that is mostly what my stream is is about this time. But I do hope everybody enjoyed it. Most of the stream was me ranting about the evolution of the 3DS, how I play it, and yada yada yada. But yeah, no, I would go through a multitude of different manuals to actually catch Pokemon, and I have the whole decks of Pokemon, but they're split between series and all that stuff. Then Pokemon Bank happened, and then Pokemon Home was created, and yada 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 yada. But I really do wish Pokemon, the company, and well, Pokemon and Game Freak, make it so that Pokemon Home and Pokemon Bank, they just need to keep it going for years if they'll allow it. There won't be any new renditions or special events through Pokemon Bank, but if they keep it alive, then the very essence of being able to transfer something from a GBA, yes, main camera. So the main essence of from Pokemon Bank is you can transfer something directly from the GBA, but if you have the Virtual Console on the 3DS, then you can actually transfer stuff from yellow, blue, green, silver, gold, crystal, and you would have to own the games or hack your Switch and get it illegally and all that, but I'm not condoning any of illegal transactions unless you bought the game. And the thing is, the fact that the 3DS system had their store taken down, the DSi had their store taken down. It's like, why? Why do this? It's like, I understand the reasoning, but they're killing so many games that have existed for a multitude of different years within the lifetime and speculation of the system itself. And some of those games you can't even buy. They don't exist in the wild. You can't just pick a cartridge like this and then pop it into a console. It's like, it doesn't work like that. But no, there are a lot of there are millions of games that are lost through all of this translation of digital and non-digital stuff. Because when you have the physical game, you actually have the cartridge and all that stuff. But the thing is, so many things of replicating any of the devices and all that stuff, cheating has become a lot easier because the fact that people want to play these games. They don't want to spend so much money on a game that they had for so many years. And it's like, why? And the pay-for service is a nice little feature, yes. But the thing is, you don't own any of those games. They lend them to you. You're just borrowing those games, and they're just lending it to you. You're paying a service, yes, but you're not getting the games at all. You don't buy them. There's no way to buy them anymore because they haven't existed since the beginning of this year, because after March, that was the deadline. No more 3DS games. No more DS games. 3DS was this March, but DS games haven't existed for quite a while, and it's like no one's going to be making any more DS games. There are so many ROM hacks out there because it's like people want to play the games differently, and you give us no means to do so. So the reason why we hack things is to challenge ourselves at a sometimes a little bit better gameplay. Has a darker backstory sometimes, but hey, or looter, which for certain games I understand going that direction, but there are other games that it's like, please don't go that direction. You're breaking the game experience, and it's like it just, it doesn't ruin the game, but it makes it so that the game itself is and it's more cheesy than when you do something that isn't really built for such. Unless you have a really good story, then by all means. But the thing is, a lot of companies just take a lot of that down, and it's like, what can you do? It's not going to work, and all that stuff too, because let's see. Yep. So a game like this cannot be played the same way on any other system. You actually have to have the cartridge. And the reason why I say this is there are certain games out there where it's like you lose on the experience if you don't have the cartridge. And then if you don't have the Tamagotchi style Pokeball like this, then you're losing out on the gameplay of this. So it's like, yeah, it's pretty bad when some of these games, I know it's easy to rip them, but you're losing out on the features that are provided through the games themselves. And the fact that they took away a lot of the Pokemon events after the DS died, the 3DS, and it's like all the events that have existed after the 3DS, they are really lackluster, is my opinion on the subject. Because the thing is, those games could be so much better if they just expanded quite a bit more. And they need to have talking characters. They need voice actors for a lot of these games. And it's like, it is 2024. Almost every game out there now has a speech. There are games that do not have any speech at all. I understand that. Those games are fine. Sometimes they're very boring, but they're fine. And there are many lewd games that are very well done, but they're either not finished because they don't have the budget for it, but they have speech. A lot of those games now have speech. There are some of the early games, and they're starting to get speech into those, and it, it's just one of those things where it's like people need to evolve in order to move further and beyond. Yeah, I'm mixing up phrases and all that, but you get the picture of, it's like all of this stuff through generation of generation of generation of ultimately generation of stuff. And yeah, I'm just going through all the motions, but still, it's like all this stuff can be collected, and a lot of people don't like collecting anything anymore because they want it digital. Digital is fine, yes. The thing is, a lot of companies that are going towards the digital spectrum is you can't buy anything anymore, and that is unfortunate. But there are other things that are very unfortunate in their own right. Some of the games from even back then, because they have such horrid DRM, you cannot play them anymore. It is one of the things that people need to understand. It's a serious situation that is happening right now for all digital games. Every single last one of them is dying off for consoles because no one's taking care of it. There are games left off the list. Let me give you for an instance. Let's talk about Xbox. Xbox decided after the 360, we're not actually at the 360, that we're not going to support any of the old Xbox games other than these select few, like Halo and some of these others. Everything else, no, we're not going to allow. So they basically put a list of what games would be allowed and what would not be allowed for you to actually play them. A lot of people were pissed, and they're still pissed to this day. So that's why they hacked all their Xbox 360 consoles, because they just wanted to play their games. And they didn't want to have to bring out an old Xbox console just to play it. There are just so many different things that it's like, why? And can you just fix it? But there's Xbox 360s with the Red Ring of Death, which luckily I haven't had. I'm needing to recap the board, but I haven't had it. So there's that. But no, all these systems need to be taken care of, and I know emulation and all that stuff, that does preserve the games. The thing is, there are millions of different games out there that have just disappeared overnight because, oh, it's banned now. It's like, we changed our minds. It's no longer suited for audiences. So, it's off the store. That's more of PlayStation's sort of MO on a lot of different things. It's like, yeah, the PSP is getting old. Let's just take it off the store. So, yeah, every generation, it's like they take something off the store and so on and so forth. But with a lot of these different stores and eventually going to be shut down and all that stuff, there are some games that are only digital, and you will only be able to buy them digitally. And some people only have a digital console, and sometimes they need the internet. Uh, there will be a point where it's like, without the internet, you cannot play any of these games. There are some games like that have servers on an on something far away that they connect to. Let's give Pal World, for instance. And it's like, once the server goes down, it's no longer able to be able to, you won't be able to play the game at all, because your game file is on a server somewhere 10,000 miles away or 100 miles away. It really just depends on how close you are to the ping point or servers that they have hosted. But yeah, no, there are just many different things going on. It's like, physical games, you at least have the point where it's like, I have the cartridge, I have the save file on the cartridge, it'll work, and it'll be good. But there's also a bad thing about cartridges in its own right, and the fact is, if they get too moist, or wet, or anything, for a long period of time, they will corrode. You do need to use isopropyl alcohol or something similar that is not as damaging to the plastic, because alcohol will dry out the plastic no matter what. But yeah, so there are many different things that are going on. It's, people just need to get their act together on all that digital storefront, and it is one of the things that I do hope this future is not a dystopian future. But yep, I take all my games, place them in a bin. And the reason why I do this is because of how frequent I play my Pokemon games. And what I'm trying to do is utterly crazy in its own right. I really wish I could stream it, but to get that set up, oh yeah, I would need a lot more money, I would need more stands and whatnot and so forth. And I will put out a new thing about the INL Retro. I'm still in the process of trying to figure out exactly what I want to say, what points I want to come across. That one is not going to be scripted at all, but I probably should. Just to at least bring forth some points that are very important about the device. And it is a wonderful device. The only problem about it is it cannot take save files. It cannot rip Pokemon games. It cannot rip Sonic Advance games. So I have to find other means of getting that, or I get another ripper device that can do that for me. But no, there are so many different things that are always going through my head, and it's like, I'm an artist too, so I want to paint, I want to draw, I want to play games, I want to do all that stuff. But I also want to show my interest on cryptocurrency and stuff like that. I'm not going to outright do anything on cryptocurrency on this channel. I may more of talk about it here and there, some tips and points, but I'm not going to go in an in-depth look on it. I can talk about it and all the different things of what I have experienced through a podcast and all that, which I still need to do. But no, I will most likely do something like that. And it's like cryptocurrency, the next step in the evolution of money. But is it money? No. Is it an algorithm? Yes. an algorithm with a token that you get every time you are paid out through a machine that hashes away, which it basically uses electricity and solves the problem as fast as it can. The first part of it is basically solo mining, and that's how everything began on Bitcoin. It's like everybody was solo mining because there was no such thing as pool mining. All you were doing was solo mining, and then pool mining came later. Like everything else, it's solo mining first, then pool mining. But I do love the wallets now than back then, because the wallets back then were very atrocious and very clunky. And sometimes are still very, very clunky. If you really want to have a dedicated wallet, it is very, very clunky. And XMC is one of the worst types of coins to get, because Monero Classic is not the best one to go into. Usually Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, Caspa, then we have Litecoin, we have Dogecoin, we have Ravencoin, we have, it's another Bitcoin variant, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, which no one really supports. It's like the Coinbase used to have support for Bitcoin SV, and then they removed it. It's like, well, no one's using this, so let's just get rid of it. Off with you. But no, there are many different issues, but everything is evolving one step at a time. And the thing is, you can do the same thing with your artwork. And that is mostly the reason why I showed a lot of this. But yeah, no, you can evolve through your artwork if you just practice every day. I had really bad drawing skills at the beginning. And I mean very, very bad. All my characters looked very awkward. They didn't have any depth. They didn't have any perspective. But I've taken art classes over the years, and gradually, everything shaped up to look more presentable. And I just went with my own style as it came across. So, it is all about practice, even if you have the skill. If you do not practice, you will not really achieve anything. And that's with anything, really. You just have to practice it. Well, I do hope this was somewhat informational. It's like, I started with Pokemon, Game Boys, and devices of smaller significance, even e-readers. Yeah, this e-reader right here. But yeah, no, even e-reader. There are just many different things that it's like all these things out there that exist, you need to understand and appreciate them, because they have made it so that all of our devices communicate, evolve, and move forward in the transition of how our electronics work. Because I may have a lot of things that I've collected over the years. And I mean, not just small devices like this, like consoles, and not even my console set up right over there, which, sorry about that. But, yeah, I just don't want to unplug something, and it's like, no. But, no, I have around 12, 13 different consoles, and they're scattered throughout the house, too, and I don't want to get everything and just bring it up and pile it here, because I don't want to ruin them in the first place. I want to at least keep everything alive. So there's that too. But yeah, no, I've collected multiple different things throughout the years because I drive them to the ground. And I mean, with all my electronics, I had a Mac Mini that lasted 10 years before it stopped working. Of course, I moved. The connection was already pretty bad. So, yeah. And it's worse off now, but hey. What can you do? But I do hope everybody had a nice night, a nice morning, whatever time of the day it may be during the time you watch this. But I do hope everything was informative, and if you do have any questions, comments, concerns, I don't know why you would have concerns, but go ahead and put concerns in there and list them. But I really don't mean that, but I actually would like to hear it either way. But no, off topic on that, but no, just list any sort of information that you would like to hear about retro devices, consoles, computers, because the first computer was just a calculator. Now it's a very, very, very complicated calculator, but it's a calculator nonetheless. Because it is just translating things into an image format for us to actually see. It's all still numbers, and I mean numbers, not letters or anything like that. Letters don't exist in the alphabet of machine code. So, it's only a 0 or a 1. Is it on? Is it off? And how many times is it on and off per second? But, alright, enough of that. And I do hope everybody has a good night, morning, afternoon, whatever time of day it may be. And this is Tim from Tech Artists, signing off.